everyone, Intuitive Edge here. It's time to take a look at our month ahead to see what might be in store. Let's take an intuitive peek. I'll be right back and we'll get started. As I'm looking into November, I keep seeing there was a scene that flashes in my mind, and it's something that happened several years ago at Christmas time in Nashville, Tennessee, USA. A RV that was driving around playing weird music, and then an explosion happened. And I'm feeling that again. So I don't know if there's something similar, or for some reason that is flashing in my mind again. That scene, that scenario. I'm also feeling like the world is taking a collective breath. And there's something that happens where people are glued to their television or hanging on news coming in, wanting information about an event that takes place, and people are in the information gathering stage. And it feels like there's an anticipation, a waiting for news coming in about an event. I'm also pulled up to the heavens, the sky, regarding satellites. There's going to be a lot of news about satellites. Could be news about space debris, but I think satellites, or positioning of satellites in the sky. It almost feels like this event with the satellites is going to be making news, but there's also something else in the news that's newsworthy. This is coinciding at the same time, and it feels like this is almost by design, that the satellite thing is going up to make a big splash in the news, but it's taking away from another thing in the news that is also important, but it's like drawing everyone's attention away from something else that is important also. So this feels underhanded, like the space satellite thing is not really newsworthy, but it's being like made out to be this big thing, but really it's no big deal. But they're doing that because there's something else in the news that they want. Whoever they is, there's something that is being distracted from news, something else more newsworthy that should be paid attention to. So whatever else is going on in the news at that same time is probably worth noting. I'm pulling into New York, and I'm feeling a lot of unrest there, social unrest, but it's mixed. I feel a lot of celebrating, but also a lot of unrest and people that are unhappy. Could be the result of an election coming up, but this feels really, I also feel like there's maybe some looting or a run on some stores or something else going on at the same time. This could be New York, or maybe certain areas, certain pockets. I feel a lot of people just giddy and in the streets, and they're celebrating and they're happy. And it feels like a large majority is not sharing that joy and that celebration. And there's a lot of mixed feelings, and this just feels not so good. Not so good. So the celebrating people feel like they're kind of bucking the system, or like they almost have an anarchist type of feel to their energy. And it's almost like something comes over them and they're just almost, I don't know how to describe this. It's like they're just careless and carefree, and they don't care because they won, or they're feeling empowered, and it's not a good mix. because it's really kind of destructive is how I'm feeling it. There could also be some calls. I'm still in New York. There could be some calls for, like, somebody's going to want to, like, a recount, or looking at this election again. There could be some contesting the results. Someone is considering that, and they may be talking to another person who is considering that. But there's a large swath of people that are not happy, and it feels like the anarchists have won temporarily. I feel like there's some sort of contest the election coming up. I don't know whether that will succeed, but there's some heightened emotions and a lot of unrest, and it almost feels like premature celebrating. Maybe things don't go down as clean and cut and dry, but yet one side is like, yay, we won, but other side is like, hold on a minute, we're not conceding. We need to look at this. We need to review this. This is not, something didn't add up right. There's something premature going on in terms of celebrating a winner in this election. Now, whether there's an official recount, I don't know, or if somebody's considering contesting it. So we'll see what happens. So I feel like in this New York race, Sliwa is one of the people running. I feel like he is the one that's going to be demanding a recount. And I was just putting out some cards because I'm feeling that he's going to be the one that's going to say, hold on a minute, this doesn't smell right, this doesn't sound right, we need to do a recount as to something isn't right, and he's going to be, I think he's going to want the recount. Yeah, he doesn't feel like, something doesn't sit well with this. It almost feels like him and Cuomo kind of split things a little bit. They split the vote, maybe. So I asked if Sliwa was going to be the one doing that. I got the King of Wands. And it's crossed by the Hermit. This is a card of introspection, looking closer, taking a closer look at something. And then above it is the give and take, wanting to recount, wanting to take a look at it again. He's heading right into the Emperor. This is about who's in charge and who's in control. And that's right next to this card, which is a card of waiting, the Nine of Wands. It's like you're on defense, having to wait. But underneath that 9 is the Ten of Swords, a card of ending. So I think that there's something about this election that's finalized, but there's like this, hold on a minute, wait. And I don't think it's going to work out the way that he wants. I mean, this is on the outcome, the Eight of Cups. This is like you're having to move on. It's a sad situation and you have to move on. That's on the outcome for him. And right under that is this card, Five of Pentacles, thrown out in the cold, and abandonment, that you're worried that you might just have to abandon your cause. I do feel like there's still some energy on this whole thing being a problem. And I think there's a lot of the population that's going to be upset or up in arms about the outcome of this. That's what I'm feeling. So I also feel like something good is going to come of this in New York. Even out of a challenging situation, or what some might consider a bad situation, maybe their view of who won is going to not be good for New York at all. I think that there could be something, it might take a couple of years, but there's something good that's coming of it. Maybe some laws get changed. Maybe somebody puts forth an idea regarding a better way to handle elections. Maybe there's some tighter controls or some more guardrails on candidates. There's something coming that's going to change the way, maybe some of the things that are done. And I think it's going to have a positive impact, but that's down the road in the future. I think this is like a lesson learned and a lesson gleaned, and there's a big lesson coming in this election. Eventually something good will come of it, but probably not right away. I do think there's a spiritual aspect to this as well. As they say, we attract our own lessons, and we attract things so that we can grow. And there could be something to this. A challenging situation could be coming up for the people of New York that could be getting them to look at their own energy and why did we attract this. That's always the place to look in any situation where the outcome is undesired. It's like, okay, look within. How did I attract this? How did I participate in bringing this into my world and my awareness? That goes with anything. Anything that is unpleasant in your life, the solution, the spiritual solution, is to not blame others, but to simply look within and see how you have contributed or what your role is and what you can do to change and be different going forward. So I think that might help with the spiritual aspect, is looking at that, because ultimately things don't just happen randomly, and we do create our reality. We create what happens to us, even on an unconscious level. And it's times like these that remind us just how we are contributing to the world that we create. And that is ultimately what empowers people to make change. Therefore, they can change the outcome. So moving on from New York, I was asking about what positive things are coming pertaining to things happening with the United States in the month of November. Now, I laid out some cards, and this is really fascinating. I got the King of Swords, card of decisiveness. The king could represent leadership, and it's crossed by the Hierophant, the high priest, the card of structure and control. Above it is Temperance. So this is kind of like grace, patience, the waiting game. Something about the structure and control of the government, and maybe that's this whole shutdown thing, it being in waiting. That could linger on a little longer. I got this looking within. During this shutdown, maybe some auditing, some looking at files, looking to release things. This is on the background, and it's moving into, there's going to be some sort of announcement. But what's interesting about it, and I was asking specifically about something positive, because I wanted to focus on something good coming. And I got the Tower on what things might be feeling like, and this on the environment around it, the moon. So I'm thinking, how in the world is all of this positive? What spin is this? But there's this message. This is a really positive card, facing right into the moon. There could be something that is announced, maybe some restructuring, something that is changing, maybe government-wise. And it has to do with reclaiming something, taking back money. I'm wondering if this has to do with the tariffs, because the outcome card is the card of celebration, and it's right above that card of reclaiming what's yours and money. So fascinating that there's something that's going to have to fall apart, though. And maybe it's being deliberately dismantled, and that's the announcement. But I think it's about money that's coming into the United States. And I think something is going to be a catalyst, but it's kind of secrets. It's hidden right now with that moon card. But I do think perhaps later on in the month, we could get an announcement coming out, probably from the government structure, because this card represents hierarchy, tradition, can represent governments, religion, but it's facing right into that announcement card, and it's crossing that king. But overall, it feels like there's something good coming of it with this celebratory card on the outcome. So, and then the Temperance again is biding time. So, a lot of interesting energies playing out with the United States government in the month of November. Very strange. Other things going on in November. I did pull into unfortunate, there might be an airline issue. I just got a flash of, and I could hear an engine roaring, like having issues. There could be an airplane that has a problem. That's kind of what I'm feeling there. As I'm feeling into it, it feels like some plane going along, and all of a sudden it like lurches, and could be a Delta flight, possibly. I don't want to speculate too much on it, but it just feels like it lurches, and I can hear engines having issues. And so, yeah, I heard Delta for some reason. This almost feels like a maintenance issue comes up, where something like vibrates apart, like a screw or a bolt or something that is, that could be what maybe is the ultimate cause, but something comes apart. So earlier in this video, I mentioned something about seeing like people glued to the TV going, like holding their breath, hoping for some sort of news. I wonder if this has to do with that airplane issue. Maybe there is a plane crash, and maybe there's survivors, and people are hoping for the best, and seeing it unfold on television. And maybe, people are hoping the best for their loved ones, and whatever that could be. I feel Delta. I do. Okay. That's what I get for that. I'm getting something with Elton John. I don't know if there's going to be a tribute song of his played at someone's memorial, or something about him and his legacy, his music. I feel like he's going to be in the spotlight somehow. Maybe people paying tribute to him, honoring him, something. I'm seeing his name in lights once again. Like this huge outpouring of love for this man, like worldwide. I mean, I don't want to say, maybe he passes. I hope not. I hope that's not it. But it's almost like this groundswell of support, and people paying tribute and honoring and playing his music. And if it's not him, maybe people are honoring someone else with his music, and somehow he's involved. So anyway, that's what I feel with that. An amazing life is what I'm hearing. This feels like it unites the world. Young, old, people of all makes in creeds. There's something about this connection with Elton John that feels like people can let go of differences, even just for a little while, and come together and support one another. This feels like very unifying and very cohesive, and like people are going to come together and celebrate together their humanity, a great life, a wonderful life lived. I just heard the tributes are going to be ongoing. The tributes will be ongoing. It's not like a one-day event. It's like this is going to linger into the next several weeks, however long, whenever this takes place. And it's going to be like setting off like a movement where people will be moved into almost like a higher state of consciousness or awareness, because it's going to touch them deeply in their soul. They're going to feel this at a deep level. If it's a sense of loss or a life lived or something, it's going to really resonate with people. And it feels like even for a short time, the world will unite and come together as one in their collective tribute. Overall, for the month of November, I feel like there's some really positive things that are happening, even though as life has it has its ups and downs, and there may be struggles and challenges, but there are some really good things coming as well. I feel like it's a good month. There's some good things happening. There's some things to be thankful and grateful for. And I think perhaps this month is going to be about awakening our compassionate side and seeing ourselves as not separate but unified. So in that respect, this looks to be a very powerful month. So with that, I think I'm going to close. Thanks everybody for watching and tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.